Alright, so let's start off with Wilcon, no? Now, itong Wilcon, after our push to the upside, I think nakakuha siya ng magandang financial report around this area when we started the push higher. Tapos, umabot tayo halos sa next level of resistance natin, which was at 31.5, pero bumitin ng konti, no? The high was 31.2, and then from there, we push back down. Tas ang binalikan natin, as per always, is yung previous area kung saan tayo nagkaroon ng resistance prior to price moving to the upside. So nakahanap tayo ng support around 28.6. Now, all that being said, ano yung mga scenarios na pwede nating i-anticipate dito sa Wilcon, no? First and foremost, if we can actually come up and break above 31.5, I think that opens up this range here hanggang 33.7. And if we can open up 33.7, then baka pwede nating balikan tong high na to around 35 pesos. Now, a break above 33.7 wouldn't outright get me excited and very bullish na, hindi, babalikan natin yung high at 40 pesos. I think it's best to take it one step at a time and aim for 35 muna and see what it does from there. If you can continue to push higher, edi syempre, yun nga, ang natural na next magnet for price would be around 40 na. Now, kung kunwari, from here, we actually started pulling back, structurally speaking, wala pa naman ako nakikita na super crucial, but let's say we cross back down beneath 28.6, test it from underneath, tapos this area holds. One potential scenario is baka mag-form tayo ng head and shoulders pattern dito and we can see a deeper retracement. Baka balikan natin tong purple zone na to sa baba. And if this area here breaks, then we might push all the way back down dito sa white zone na to, which was our demand zone where we wanted to see Wilcon initially react from. Sayang lang to, parang ang brief lang no reaction niya, hinalikan lang niya, then nag-push na kaagad, no? But kung bumalik tayo all the way there, does that mean automatic buy dapat? For me, no. It still depends kung ano itsura ng structure if ever we do come back here. But again, wag natin sobrang pangunahan. Let's take it one area at a time. Let's see what price does from here before we make up our minds on whether or not we want to add to a Wilcon position or enter into a new Wilcon position or what have you. Next, let's talk about Cebu Pacific. No? Now, itong Cebu Pacific, for the longest time, it has been ranging in this very wide area. Now, that being said, I don't necessarily want to imply na madali yung trade niya. Na talagang kapag binili mo siya sa baba, mabebenta mo siya doon sa tuktok and vice versa. No? But, it would seem like yun talaga yung pinaglalaroan niya pangsamantala eh. Actually, hindi lang pangsamantala because it's been going on since late 2021. Okay? So, from here, ano yung mga pwede nating i-expect? Siyempre, una, as always, ise-segment natin ulit yung mga ranges, yung mga areas, just to help us manage potential trade ideas that we might have. So, for now, where price is, we're currently trading within this range here, between 40 pesos to 43.25, which admittedly is a very tradable range, no? Now, syempre, kung kunwari pasok siya sa setup nyo, pasok siya sa parameters nyo, then by all means, go ahead. For me, where price is currently, medyo alanganin pa. Now, if we can come back and actually take out 46.5, then that opens up this range above hanggang 49 pesos. Pero, I personally wouldn't be very excited to trade this range, this chop, this mess in the middle simply because ang gulo niya eh. 'Di ba? If you look at it, even going all the way back here, ang choppy na niya sobra eh. So, I guess kung may hawak ka, nakabili ka sa baba, umakyat dyan, tapos gusto mo mag-trim ng konti, you want to hold a bit back to see kung magra-run ba siya, that's fine, but I personally wouldn't try to range trade this area here. I would wait for breaks to the upside or clear plays to the downside before I start looking for potential trades dito sa SEB. Like, etong range na to is a little bit more attractive than etong range na to. And etong range dito, yes, naging choppy na rin siya along the way, but it just feels much cleaner compared to tong middle na range. Okay? Now, if we can break above 49, then that opens up further to the upside. Yung next level of resistance natin will be 52 pesos na. However, if we come back down and we actually break beneath tong 40 pesos, then we might revisit support at 38.55. For now, I think yung best course of action dito sa CEB would be to exercise more patience and wait for something to develop before you decide whether or not this is or isn't for you. Kapag meron kang pinag-aabangan na fundamental value na area, then by all means, if price ever gets there, go ahead, trigger your trade, pinag-aralan nyo yan di ba? But until then, baka mas maganda tipirin nyo muna yung bala nyo, maybe dispose back further, maybe it gets caught within this range muna and really goes nowhere in the interim. We'll have to wait and see what CEB does next. Next, tignan naman natin tong SHLPH, no? Now, I get it kung bakit na-request tong SHLPH kasi nagkaroon tayo ng recent move to the upside. Medyo malakas, ilang sunod-sunod din na green candles. However, I would argue na in the middle of this run, it would have been very hard na humabol simply because the risk-reward likely wouldn't have been there. Now, after that, nag-pull back tayo. In fact, we nearly pulled back to etong last level of resistance prior to price breaking out at 19.4. Bumitin tayo ng 60 cents, umabot tayo hanggang 20 pesos wherein nagkaroon na tayo ng bounce. However, itong bounce na to hasn't really led anywhere just yet. Yes, maybe we come back and fill the gap that was left behind here, but the possibility also exists na baka mag-flag tayo to the downside and balikan natin tong area na to at 19.4. If this does happen, whether we wedge downwards or we flag downwards, we channel, whatever you want to call it, then it might be worth noting how price reacts from there. Kung bumaba dyan yung price, then we see a break to the upside. Let's say mag-form tayo ng maybe some type of inverse head and shoulders pattern, maybe a cup and handle pattern, whatever you want to see, whatever type of bullishness that you're looking for from a technical standpoint, then this might be worth trading moving forward. Baka yung move na yon could lead to a potential trade from around 20 pesos pabalik dito sa previous high at 22.25 or even higher dito sa 23.3. Okay? However, that being said, medyo bitin pa ng konti yung picture na tinitingnan natin. I do want to see it play out over a few more candles to see what it will do. Kasi possible din na from here, mag-range tayo dito sandali. Tapos hindi natin alam ano gagawin niya next. It could fall. If it falls further and breaks beneath tong 19.4, then we might come back to trade this range here between 17.5 to 19.4, which again is a very tradable range. But if it's gonna be tradable, will have to depend on what it ultimately looks like kung gawin man niya yun. After all, lagi natin sinasabi na usually mga ganitong inefficient moves tend to get eaten up. Diba? Nagkaroon tayo ng inefficient move dito, it took a while but eventually nakain siya. Diba? Nagkaroon tayo ng inefficient move dito, eventually nakain siya. So hindi naman siguro nakakagulat kung makain din to ulit. So what we want to see is signs of continuation na, uy, teka, mukhang hindi makakain yung inefficient move na yun na. Mukhang may totoong strength yun before we pile in. Para meron tayong konting confirmation bago tayo mag-trade. Rather than just, mukhang tataas na eh. Sige, buy na lang, bahala na si Batman. Maawa naman tayo kay Batman, no? Busy na siya eh. Okay? Next, tignan natin yung Bloom. Now, tong Bloom, after nung strong move to the upside, we have more or less been consolidating within this area here between mga 6.7 hanggang let's say mga 7.10, more or less. Okay? Nagkaroon tayo ng attempt to push lower here. Diba? Nag-gap down tayo, price tried to push lower, pero lumaban. Nag-hold tong support at 6.74 and price has gone back up above 7 pesos. And as of today's candle at least, we came back, tested 7 pesos, then nag-bounce and nag-hold. Okay? Now, ano yung mga potential scenarios na pwede nating i-anticipate dito sa Bloom? Number 1, maaaring mag-trade muna tayo within this range here between 7 pesos hanggang 7.37. Tapos, kung mabasag tong 7.37, that opens up this wider range above hanggang 7.85, which is our next level of resistance. Okay? On the flip side, kung kunwari na-retake tong 6.74, let's say price broke down, came back, hold, and we start holding beneath 6.74, then what that might mean is baka balikan natin tong range na to. After all, kung titingnan natin to the left side, ang tagal din naglaro dito ng price prior. Okay? So baka balikan natin tong range na to between 6.15 hanggang 6.74. Now, I am not saying na kung balikan man niya yun yung exact low and high end ng range, no? Syempre, at the end of the day, area pa rin na pinag-uusapan natin. Okay? So, we might trade the range here. Pero kung altogether, mabasag tong 6.15, number one, I don't think it's gonna look quite as bullish anymore. Kasi after all, pwedeng maging inverse head and shoulders to dito eh. Diba? Yes, bigger picture, we have been moving sideways, but I do know na usually pag ganito kalaki yung pattern, a lot of people will take notice. Bakit? Kasi kung ganyang kalalaki yung pattern, typically, kahit tumitingin ka sa weekly time frame, sa monthly time frame, nagiging visible siya. And a lot of people get more excited about it. Okay? So, maybe we form some type of inverse head and shoulders pattern here, regardless. But kung mabasag nga tong 6.15, ibig sabihin nun, price would come back to this range between 5.78 hanggang 6.15, perhaps even dipping all the way hanggang 5.5. And at that point, diba, it's not gonna look appealing na to a lot of traders. Yes, if you're a value investor, kung kunwari nag-aabang ka ng potential value play sa area na yun, then maybe you would take interest. But from a technical standpoint, it's not gonna be very exciting. Diba? Parang ang magiging itsura niya lang is wala, bumalik lang siya sa support. Kaso yung next level of resistance niya nandito lang eh. So 5.5 to 5.78 isn't really something that you should be super excited about, di ba? So for now, baka maganda hintayin natin to see what price does while it's consolidating in this area. If we get a break to the upside, then yun nga, we try to look for potential trades up to 7.85 maybe, or even yung highs na nandito na naiwan from before. Tapos pag nag-collapse naman, see if you want to trade the ranges below, assuming mag-set up siya for you. And then finally, let's take a look at AREIT, no? Now, itong mga REITs, madalas talaga sila nare-request sa akin. It's just that, hindi ko talaga ganang mapagbigyan. Number one, kasi nga, usually, yung itsura ng charts nila aren't really that good. Meaning, hindi sila madaling i-analyze. And number two, if you're looking to trade, then you really shouldn't be trying to trade yung mga REITs ng short term. At least not for me. Para sa akin, if you wanna do REITs, then it's more of a long-term thing. You're trying to play for yung dividends, tinatry mong beat yung inflation to some degree, things like that. Hindi siya outright na, okay, itatrade ko to from this level to that and make money quickly. I think para sa ganong aspect, there are easier stocks to trade. Okay? There are easier stocks to look at than mga REITs. That being said, since talagang madalas ma-request tong AREIT, let's get to it, no? Now, one could say na from a technical standpoint, pwedeng nag-form tayo ng some type of cup and handle pattern here, or perhaps even some type of inverse head and shoulders pattern na nabubuo. But let's make it easy. As long as price stays above 38, then the trading range for AREIT is from 38 hanggang mga 41.5. Obviously, pwede ang magbago. Like for now, nakapag-form tayo ng resistance dito sa high end ng range. But hindi ko pa siya minamarkahan kasi price hasn't really gone anywhere. After this push to the upside, more or less nag-conso lang tayo eh. So is there a level of resistance there? Sure. But hanggang hindi tayo nagsiswing away firmly, I wouldn't mark it as a strong area of resistance just yet. Okay? The other thing is, kung let's say mabasag tong 37.9, then price might come back and trade within this range here from 35.85 hanggang 37.9. If 35.85 breaks, the next level of support will be at 34. Now, kung mag-push naman tayo to the upside and we break above 41.5, the first thing that I would look for is mag-fill ba tong gap na naiwan from before. If let's say mag-partial fill lang siya, mauntog, then tumulak ulit pababa, then baka hindi pa siya ready. Lalo na if after that, we come back, test underneath, then collapse, baka bumalik lang tayo sa range na to. Now, if you're requesting this, hoping na magbigay ako ng, hindi, dapat bilhin to at that level or at this level, I'll be very honest and say na hindi talaga ako nagpe-play personally ng mga REITs eh. Okay? If you want, pwede ka naman mag-try bumili sa mga support, but know that I really don't know what I'm talking about. Kasi hindi ko sila tinetrade eh. A lot of people want to just say na, hindi, basta chart eh. So, tignan mo lang, pag kaya mo i-trade mo. Ako naniniwala ako na it's important na kahit papano, kilala mo yung market na tinitira mo eh. Diba? Kasi kung hindi mo siya kilala, hindi mo alam mo na yung behavior niya, then it's harder to anticipate what it might do next. Yes, a chart is a chart is a chart. A pattern is a pattern is a pattern. An MA is an MA is an MA. But, not all stocks behave in the same way. Yes, nagkataon tong AREIT, nagkaroon tayo ng very strong push to the upside and it might look very appealing if you want to trade it. But again, there are easier stocks to trade. Pero kung gusto mo tong bilhin because you want to build an REIT portfolio or a dividend portfolio, then my best suggestion is to try and see if your broker can help you out. If they can't help you out, tulad ng sabi ko sa ibang videos, find a broker who will. Remember, you are paying these people to do things. Whether it's trading, whether it's investing on your behalf through mga mutual funds or index funds or what have you. And that goes din sa paghingi ng tulong sa mga bagay na hindi nyo naiintindihan. Like possibly forming a dividend portfolio or an REIT portfolio. So ask for help. Wala pong masama doon. At kung ayaw tulungan, again, hindi po masama maghanap ng broker na willing silang tumulong sa inyo. Okay? But from a purely technical standpoint, I've already given my views here on AREIT. So guys, dito po nagtatapos yung video natin, no? I hope nakatulong po to sa inyo kahit konti and may natutunan kayo kahit papano. And if so, I would really appreciate it if you give this video a like and consider subscribing to my channel. And as always guys, maraming salamat po sa panonood. I really appreciate it. Good luck and happy trading!